मीटिंग पर इस प्रेस वार्ता में आपका स्वागत है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में हुई इस बैठक में राज्यों और केंद्र शासित प्रदेशों के मुख्यमंत्रियों और प्रशासकों ने हिस्सा लिया। इस प्रेस वार्ता के लिए मैं नीति आयोग के वाइस चेयरमैन श्री सुमन बेरी जी का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। साथ ही नीति आयोग के सदस्य श्री राजीव गाबा जी, डॉक्टर वी.के. सारस्वत जी, प्रोफेसर रमेश चंद जी और डॉक्टर वी.के. पॉल जी, डॉक्टर अरविंद विरमानी जी के साथ साथ नीति आयोग के सीईओ श्री B.V.R. सुब्रमण्यम जी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। इस प्रेस वार्ता की शुरुआत वाइस चेयरमैन श्री सुमन बेरी जी के संबोधन से होगी। उसके बाद नीति आयोग के सीईओ श्री B.V.R. सुब्रमण्यम जी विस्तार से जानकारी देंगे और मीडिया के सवाल सबसे अंत में लिए जाएंगे। अब मैं माननीय वाइस चेयरमैन जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि वे मीडिया को संबोधित करें।
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry you've had to wait. Thank you all for being here and being interested in the work of NITI Aayog. This is the most important meeting that NITI Aayog holds, roughly once a year. This was the 10th Governing Council meeting, and this is the 10th year of NITI Aayog because it came into existence in 2015. There has already been something in social media about what the Prime Minister said. I won't go over that at the moment. What I would say is, first, he did acknowledge the importance of these successive meetings in creating a consensus in the past for many of the achievements of his government's first and second term. I won't go through all of this, but everywhere from housing to health to sanitation, all of these are the joint efforts of the center and the state made possible by a forum like the Governing Council. The second point that I think was very important was that even though there was a record of 10 years of achievement, the clear message is that it is time to accelerate, it is possible to accelerate, and this has to be a national movement. This is not, it has to be done. It's a political movement. It needs to mobilize the entire population. This was a demonstration of solidarity of center and states. Typically, it is about the economic program, but this took place in the shadows of the Pahalgam assault, Operation Sindoor, and that was also a sub-theme of the solidarity, I would say, in the room. But with that, let me hand over to CEO NITI Aayog on any additional points he'd like to make, and then the questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Vice Chairman. So I'll give a detailed briefing about the proceedings today and also the context of today's meeting. This is the 10th meeting, as the Vice Chairman said, of the Governing Council of NITI Aayog. NITI has also completed 10 years of existence. It was formed in 2015. This is 2025. First, let me make it very clear. I think there was a sense of positivity in the room, and I think I would like to mention that very, very early on. We had 31 out of the 36 states and UTs participating. This is the highest ever participation of a Governing Council of NITI Aayog. We have had 31 participants long ago in the first meeting and maybe once more. But if you see earlier years, 26, 25, etc., that actually shows that people came with a very positive bent of mind, and the 5 states which were missing were largely we were informed in advance for a lot of other reasons, clash of commitments or health reasons. So we had Karnataka, we had Kerala, we had Puducherry, we had West Bengal, and we had Bihar. So these were the states, and we knew pretty much in advance that they are not coming. But I think you've been covering NITI Aayog for quite some time, and you'd appreciate that, the fact that there was such a large participation had a very larger context to it. Before I go into actually what was discussed, let me give a small context. I mean, NITI has been, playing a very fundamental role and contributing immensely to coordinating development decisions across the country, both at the central government level and between the center and the states. And I think that's the fundamental role that it has been playing, shaping both cooperative as well as competitive federalism. And it's been shaping national policies, shaping visions, both at the central level as well at the state levels. It's been pushing states and central government into data-driven decision making, into empirical, evaluation-based decision making, and also wherever necessary, both at the central level with ministries as well as with the states, hand-holding. So I think, and NITI has been the repository of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I think that's another area which NITI has pushed. So this shows in the depth of work which NITI has done over the last 10 years. And I think it is seen now widely as a platform. And I'll refer to what PM said in this context in a minute later. The agenda for the meeting was actually basically 2 items apart from an action taken report. Firstly, the theme of the meeting itself and the first item in the agenda was Viksit Rajya for Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat Hetu Viksit Rajya. The whole idea is in the last governing council, the 9th governing council held just after the election in July, the Prime Minister had given a call for all states to prepare their own state visions, making their states Viksit, Viksit Bihar, Viksit Odisha, Viksit Madhya Pradesh, so that they have visions which will then aggregate into a larger vision for the nation. So I think that is what drove the agenda for the last 1 year, and that's why it became the primary theme of today's governing council meeting. The reason for the PM giving this call last time is that India is at a turning point. It's at a takeoff stage. And this is at the cusp of a change in our growth trajectory. And given that we have solved a lot of issues regarding basic services, access to basic services, and having reduced extreme poverty to less than 5% almost, I think the country is at a takeoff stage where it can grow very, very rapidly, as has been done by many countries in the past. So this was the context. Given this, as well as the demographic dividend that India is actually blessed with for the next 20-25 years, that we can grow rapidly, the Prime Minister gave a call that all states to prepare a vision document at their level. And this is already visible in the growth of India. We are the 4th largest economy as I speak. We are a $4 trillion economy as I speak. And this is not my data, this is IMF data. India today is larger than Japan. So it's only the United States, China, and Germany which are larger. And if we stick to what is being planned, what is being thought through, it's a matter of another 2.5 to 3 years, we would become the 3rd largest economy. And in this, the reason for the Prime Minister giving this call is this is a long haul and we have to do it for about 25 years. States are fundamental. Be it industrial development, be it services, be it agriculture, be it with human capital, everything has to be done in states. And if you do not have visions for states individually, it's like actually having a bullock cart with only one, bull, not two. It will not run. So if the vehicle has to move forward, you need both center and states to work in tandem. And the good thing is, as we come here, almost 17 states have prepared and released or are on the verge of releasing their visions. 5 of them have released visions: Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and Punjab. And I know that the other 12 ongoing will come out by August actually. June itself we'll see 3 or 4 coming out. Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, on the verge of releasing. They're all looking for dates. Actually, so I think this flood of activity was triggered by last time. And this time, because there were other states which had not yet begun work or in very, very early stages, in the Viksit Rajya for Viksit Bharat, we have the background note gives a large detailed explanation of how do you go around preparing a vision document for a state. And the vision document is not a daydream. It is a practical, implementable document with key performance indicators which are to be monitored, and you ensure that you are on the right track. And it should also be flexible enough to accommodate changes over 25 years. So that is what it is. It should have clear targets. We've given a background note. A part of it which I have circulated to all of you, you will be getting before the end of this press conference, which tells you how states have gone about preparing their vision documents. In about 15-20 minutes, it will be circulated and you'll get soft copies also. Say states in India are the sizes of countries. So making their own vision documents is largely justified. Uttar Pradesh is the size of Brazil, and Bihar is the size of Mexico. So these visions are justified, and I think that's the context in which this Viksit Raj for Viksit Bharat was chosen as a theme. And we're given guidance on how do you set goals, how do you set targets, how do you prepare strategies, how do you have monitoring and implementation frameworks, and how do you, having done a vision document, how do you carry it forward? How do you see that it is implemented and rolled out over 25 years? There was a second set of themes, which has now been the practice with the Governing Council of NITI Aayog, that there's a Chief Secretary's Conference which happens roughly in November, December every year. So we had the fourth Chief Secretary's Conference in December last year. There we had the theme of, promoting entrepreneurship, skilling and employment, so that we can leverage India's demographic dividend. So the outcomes of that conference also become the theme of this particular Governing Council meeting. The whole idea is the Chief Secretaries brief their Chief Ministers and they endorse the decisions of the Chief Secretaries. So we have a complete buy-in, both at the bureaucratic level as well at the political executive level, and that's how NITI Aayog builds consensus. So we had this theme within which we had sub-themes: manufacturing, services, rural, non-farm, urban, informal, and the green economy, as well as circular economy. These were the broad themes that were there. And we also gave a sample state visions and a brief outline of that. Copies of that you will have. One of Andhra Pradesh, one of Gujarat, which are among the early ones which released their vision. It will tell you what they're aiming at, and it's quite ambitious. Andhra Pradesh is targeting to become a $2.5 trillion economy, $2.4 trillion economy. Gujarat is targeting to become an economy which is $3.5 trillion. Both are very different. You will see when you read, they are differently endowed, their contexts are different. So in this context, I think the Prime Minister, in his, when he addressed the gathering, firstly, he says the 10-year journey of NITI is a 10-year journey preparing the country for Viksit Bharat. I think so. The acknowledgement that this particular forum is a very, very important and useful forum. And he said that NITI meetings are a platform both for joint action as well as for shared aspirations. You share aspirations among each other so that you build a consensus on what the country needs to do. And he said, NITI Aayog की ये जो बैठकें हैं, इन्होंने देश के विकास के को गति दी है, दिशा दिया है और ऊर्जा प्रदान किया है. So it has given them direction, it has given energy, and it has given speed. And he listed out a large series of achievements, which I think all of you who cover the economic or the social spaces are familiar. 4 crore houses, 12 crore toilets, and 40 crore PMJ, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Bharat coverage. So all that is there, and it was all listed. And by the way, these numbers I can keep reciting, they are phenomenal. What has been achieved in terms of the last 10 years is phenomenal, and this forms the base for taking a jump into Viksit Bharat. The strongest thing that has come out of today's meeting, because I'll keep switching between what PM said and what came out of the meeting, is there was a complete, absolute unanimity on Operation Sindhur and regret and anger over what happened in Pahalgam. I think that was a common theme, and there was complete expression unanimously of solidarity. Everybody commended the role and the valor of the defense forces and the leadership by the Prime Minister, which led to the success and the way the Prime Minister's leadership and the defense forces work have protected national security. And so I think that was something that was uniform, irrespective of any particular ideological or party orientation. So I think that was something there, and I'll explain what individual chief minister said, but by and large that is there. And it came out in PM's own concluding remarks. He used the words, bahut sarthak charcha hui. And so it actually came out that, this was one of the most positive meetings that one could have had, considering a very diverse composition in the room. And I think that is something we should all take note of. And what the Prime Minister said is, this is the highest body representing the federal structure of India, where you have both about 15 cabinet ministers apart from the Prime Minister, and all the chief ministers and the lieutenant governors of states, whoever is there. And there is no body which represents India's federal structure in one room, like the Governing Council of NITI, and everybody unanimously supporting in one voice gives everybody who has acted a lot of strength. But more important than that, what he says is that we need the same approach that we have had in supporting Operation Sindoor to actually go and achieve Viksit Bharat. The strength of Team India, as shown in Operation Sindoor, also is going to be the same feature which will enable India to achieve Viksit Bharat. एक लक्ष्य था ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के लिए, विकसित भारत के लिए एक लक्ष्य होगा और हम एकजुट होकर इसके लिए काम करेंगे. He also said Operation Sindoor is not a show of army strength. It has to be converted to social strength because society came out and supported our action. Similarly, Viksit Bharat is not the idea of a chief minister or an individual or anybody in the system. It has to get converted into a people's movement. What gave him a lot of pleasure and happiness is almost every state or union territory which spoke had either completed or beginning work on preparing their own visions. So वो जो एकजुटता, एक तरह से सोचने की जो सभी के मन में से ये बात जो अभी निकल के आई, that gives you a lot of confidence that this country will be Viksit Bharat. It had penetrated the thinking of everybody. So I think that is it. And he wanted this to be carried further down to districts, possibly down to villages, so that every individual is motivated. And he said the economic jump which will come out of this attitude. The Atmanirbharta, the belief in our own equipment, our own strengths and capabilities in Operation Sindoor. If that belief and capabilities are popularized and universalized, that itself will help us do a lot more as far as achieving Viksit Bharat. He said the most important point to note is that every state has joined the Viksit Bharat stream of thought. So now एक प्रवाह है और सभी लोग अब उस प्रवाह में जुड़ गए हैं, and we need to take it further down. And once you take it further down, it becomes an autopilot. And once it is an autopilot, it has a self-fulfilling way of fulfilling itself. It creates an atmosphere of agreement. Going back, in his remarks, the PM covered a lot of issues. He said that NITI has been helping a lot of states, and I think this effort should be continued. He talked that states are the places where action is there, so that we need to focus on the themes which are there in the agenda. If you want employment, that means you need skilling, you need entrepreneurship. States have to do the action in multiple fronts. Most importantly, they need to focus on manufacturing, they need to focus on services, which means remove a lot of bottlenecks. And what kind of bottlenecks? Changing policies, ease of doing business, removing obstacles, removing obsolete laws, reducing compliances. We have done a lot in Delhi. Some states have done a lot at state level, but there is a lot more to be done. Please work at state level, go down to local self-bodies, municipalities, and see that, we remove all these obsolete stuff so that investors should feel that they are welcome. And for that, there should be a friendly competition between states, create an investment-friendly atmosphere in states. He also referred to a task force created by the cabinet secretary with a lot of work assigned to secretaries for deregulation. Basically identify and remove a lot of unnecessary regulation which is hindering ease of doing business at state level. So this was one area of focus. He also asked states to focus on exports, because you just don't have to have manufacturing and services. The world is there for us. The government has been signing a lot of FTAs, more are in the pipeline. We need to leverage the FTAs. And to leverage that, he wanted states to start thinking on those lines. He also talked about, the ODOP, One District, One Product program, which he had, but it's not about just one district, one product. He wanted that to be made world class. How do you make it world class? Through quality, through marketing, through packaging, so that people feel like owning it. There is a huge world outside which has a demand for local, ethnic, identified stuff. There's a huge global market. States need to work to tap that. And if you succeed in one sector, and if you succeed, say, in auto sector, you will have spillover effects in other sectors. You succeed in auto sector, you will have success in the automotive component sector, and so on and so forth. He named areas where we have had success. We have had success in electronics, we have had success in semiconductors, we have had successes in textiles and a couple of areas. So he basically said, a farmer will harvest as he, reap as he sows. So you have to, बीज सही डालोगे और खेती करोगे तभी आप, फसल काट पाओगे. And therefore, that was one area of emphasis. The second area is, given our demographic dividend, the size of our population, I think skilling has to be given a lot of importance. We can give them the skill capital of the world, but curriculums have problems. A lot of it is outdated. In an era when you are driving new generation cars, ITIs can train people on ambassador cars. They're quite useless. So you need to update your curricula, the teaching methods, new areas have to be introduced. That way you can actually become global. Your workforce can become global. That's another area. He dwelt on a lot of things which I won't go through. He talked about cybersecurity. He gave a lot of emphasis to tourism. And I think that's something you may have seen in social media. He took a lot of time on explaining the importance of tourism. He said the G20 has unleashed a lot of interest in tourism in India. That it's for states to capitalize. And he said, don't try to do everything at one go. One state, one global destination. Develop one destination in a state or a UT where everything is seamless and as good as the best in the world. That will create a momentum, then others will copy in the neighborhood. So I think that's a call he gave. One state, one destination, where you have ease of travel, where you have ease of visiting that place, etc. Another area which he gave a lot of emphasis to was cities. That cities are driving growth. We are about 1/3 urban. By 2047, we'll be 50% urban. We need to pay more attention to that. And the explosive growth of cities is going to take place. If you don't plan for that, you're going to have messy development. Our cities will be unlivable. Use cities to actually leverage economic growth. He referred to the challenge fund, our city challenge fund, which was announced in the budget, 1 lakh crores with a 10,000 crore provision, and said cities should prepare plans, programs, projects, and tap into that fund. Then he gave a lot of other areas where the central government schemes are there. Things like he asked states to use Gati Shakti for social infrastructure, talked about women's employment, improving women's participation rate in the labor force, making it safer, making it more convenient, better timing, better travel, better facilities so that more women participate. He also talked about the importance of cooperatives, how that can actually transform the rural economy. He wanted river linking to be tried out, if not at a big level, but at least at an intra-state level, and take it forward. And he said in conclusion that if you have policies, the policies should be in a manner that they deliver impact. That's how policy should be. Policies are not things which are in books. And once people see impact, they accept change because they see change for their own benefit. And he concluded his opening saying that this is an unprecedented opportunity. In the end, as I said, he was extremely delighted by, the unanimous support for Operation Sindoor, the mood and atmosphere in the room. He said if the same mood can be captured and used for Viksit Bharat, Team India can certainly make India a developed nation. While making visions, one of the things he said to the states is 2047 is too far away. Have intermediate timelines. Orissa has a 100th year coming up in 2036. So have a goal for 2036 and 47. Maharashtra has a 75th year of its formation, 7-8 years from now. Have that an intermediate goal and then have a final goal, and so on and so forth. He also referred to a lot of chief ministers, their good suggestions, etc. He focused on 3 or 4 areas: agriculture, he focused on education, he focused on healthcare, and a lot of things that be done, things like TB Mukt Bharat, controlling obesity, reducing edible oil imports, and using technology in agriculture. He also urged states to implement programs which are funded largely by the central government. Take interest because it will help individuals, PM Janman, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and so on and so forth. And he basically concluded with this sentence saying that, leaving this room, I'm quoting him, I feel confident that we can achieve Viksit Bharat. When we made a call for Purna Swaraj in the 1920s, it took India 25 years to get Purna Swaraj. We are 25 years from Viksit Bharat. If we have this as a movement now and everybody subscribe to it, I'm sure that we can create a tempo which will deliver Viksit Bharat. Ye Jan Samanya ka mantra bane, and new generation can then be handed over a Viksit Bharat. This is what he said. I won't talk about what individual chief ministers said. We can have it in a Q&A.
Thank you, sir. Now floor is open for questions. And please introduce yourself and your name. I will start from number 3. Mike, please give him mic.
Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. My name is Girish. I'm with Mint. Sir, manufacturing sector is central to our development strategy, and industrialized states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat make significant contribution to our GDP. But the geopolitical developments and the Trump tariffs are posing a significant headwinds to the manufacturing sector, including the latest announcement of tariffs on iPhones made in India. This actually strikes at the root of our Make in India strategy. Has the Prime Minister referred to it and given any assurance about how we will deal with these external shocks? Thank you.
I don't think the audience discussed Trump tariffs, but if you look at the overall geopolitical and geoeconomic environment, it is favorable to India for a variety of reasons. A, you're not hit as badly as others, number one. 2, you are being driven by a youthful workforce. Anybody wanting to do manufacturing on a significant scale, the only place you can get cheap labor force on a large scale is now India. So this is inevitable. What is the problem? The problem is all on the supply side. You need workforce which is skilled. You need to set out your infrastructural issues. You need to have good utilities, electricity, water supply, roads, industrial parks, logistics, etc. If we do that, it is there. And you referred to some states, and that's what was referred to in the meeting. The states which are actually able to get their act going are getting it. It's for other states also to get their act going. And the agenda notes and the discussions, the CS conference, which fed into it, have very, very detailed suggestions on how to go about doing it.
Thanks, sir. 22.
Hello, sir. This is Priyoshmita from Informist Media. Sir, I have one related question, and this is regard to an mention of FDI inflows into states in the last governing council. I would like to ask that in the current context of whatever the geopolitical situation is, are we still pitching for more FDI into states, and are there any risks that we are seeing from it? And secondly, if you could just briefly touch about the metrics that you're looking at while preparing the vision document for states. Thank you.
So you have asked two completely different questions. FDI is totally different from states, okay? Because for states, it's only investment. It doesn't really matter whether it is foreign or domestic, right? So as far as FDI is concerned, if you see the figures which RBI has produced recently, the gross FDI has actually risen. It's about $80 billion, right? So there's two-way flow. That's why you have different figures. But I think given the global scenario, I think we have a very robust game going on. And I think if you get your act going better, there's going to be only more of that coming up. Aren't you seeing a new announcement almost every day? Apple has announced a new factory which is to come up. So I think that is something. As your per capita income rises, you're about $2,500. If you're going to touch $5,000 in about 5-7 years' time, consumption is, India is 60% consumption driven. And if you actually get international markets also open to you, and that's what the FTAs are targeting, the game is not over it. We're discussing with the EU, we're discussing with the US, markets will open. So, what that tariff will be is still today uncertain, right? But I'm sure the world is large enough, and given the dynamics, you are going to be a cheap place to manufacture. That is one. As far as states are concerned, for preparing their thing, I would suggest wait for the note which is being circulated. We have given a framework and the metrics on the basis of which states should prepare their vision document. How do you set targets? How do you design strategies? How do you do monitoring frameworks? It's all there.
Thank you, sir. Number 2.
Sir, Prashant Sahu from Financial Express. So, was there any discussion or of setting up a subgroup or something to drive economic growth as well as to manage the population growth in the country?
Okay, so there was one discussion, and I think this was about using technology for governance. And I think there was a suggestion to form a committee to look at how technology can be used better in governance in an era where you have AI, quantum and all that. So I think that will be carried forward. We'll have to work out the details. So I think it was positively received in the room. It's been referred to twice or thrice in the discussions.
165.
सर, मेरा सवाल है कि जिस तरह से आप लोग नीतियां बनाते हैं और बैठकें भी होती राज्यों के साथ में, तो राज्यों में के डेवलपमेंट में काफ़ी सारा इम्बैलेंस है, क्योंकि कई सारे ईस्टर्न राज्य काफ़ी पीछे हैं, बैकवर्ड माने जाते हैं, और वेस्टर्न राज्य काफ़ी सारे आगे हैं. तो कई सारे राज्यों के जो इम्बैलेंस है उसको ठीक करने के लिए आप लोगों ने कुछ अलग से कुछ उपाय किए?
ठीक है जी, जो आपने बोला वो वास्तविकता तो वही है. कुछ राज्य बेहतर कर रहे हैं, कुछ राज्य उतना बेहतर नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो नीति आयोग जो राज्यों को मदद कर रहा है विजन्स बनाने के लिए, हम केवल संपन्न राज्य जो अच्छे कर रहे हैं उनके लिए नहीं बना रहे. उड़ीसा का विजन डॉक्यूमेंट नीति आयोग से मदद से बना है. आज बात हो रही थी जून के महीने में 12-13 तारीख उनका 1 साल हो रहा है, शायद वो रिलीज कर रहे हैं. छत्तीसगढ़ में बनाए हैं. तो इस प्रकार हम राज्यों के साथ, बिहार का बन चुका है, अगले 1 महीने में उनका भी रिलीज होगा. तो ये मैंने इंडस्ट्रियली अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की दृष्टि से देखेंगे तो ये राज्य थोड़ा बाकियों से थोड़ा पिछड़े हुए हैं. दूसरा, इसके अलावा आप अगर 2 बजट पहले देखेंगे, पिछले साल के बजट में, मैंने 2024 जुलाई वाले बजट में एक पूर्वोदय की उसमें जिक्र था. सो पूर्वोदय बिहार, झारखंड, वेस्ट बंगाल, उड़ीसा, आंध्रा, ये पूर्वोदय राज्यों के लिए एक कार्य योजना बनाने की का घोषणा हुआ था. और उसको क्रियान्वित करने के लिए हमने डॉक्टर रमेश चंद की अध्यक्षता में एक कमेटी बनाई है. उसमें राज्य भी उसमें शामिल हैं और विभिन्न विभागों के जो अधिकारी हैं वो शामिल हैं. वो कार्य लगभग पूरा हो गया है, पूरा ही हो गया मान के चले. 1 महीने के अंदर एक्चुअली वो रिपोर्ट रिलीज हो रहा है. ड्राफ्ट स्टेज पे थोड़ी एडिटिंग चल रही है. तो यहाँ पर ये सारे राज्य अगर देखे जाए किसी न किसी तरह से पिछड़े हुए हैं. तो इनके लिए बिकॉज एक राज्य अकेला अगर आप देखेंगे, झारखंड हो या बिहार हो, उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स को अगर सॉल्व करना हो तो बगल वाले राज्य को भी टैकल करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि किसी के पास शायद बंदरगाह नहीं है या कुछ नहीं. तो ये सब मिला के योजना बन चुका है. ये हम अगले महीने जून में रिलीज करेंगे. तो इस तरह से हम केवल विकसित राज्यों को नहीं देख रहे, जो उतना विकसित नहीं है उनको भी ध्यान दे रहा है नीति.
237.
सर, आप बोलना चाहेंगे कुछ पूर्वोदय के बारे में?
पूर्वोदय स्टेट्स के लिए एक रोड मैप तैयार करने के लिए हमने फिर कमेटी बनाई थी, जिसमें केंद्र सरकार के सेक्रेटरी थे और उन 5 स्टेट्स के सेक्रेटरी और दूसरे ऑफिसर्स भी थे. तो फिर हमने 5 एरियाज़ पे डिटेल्ड वर्क करके एक वॉल्यूम बनाया. फिर हमने कमेटी के साथ उसको शेयर किया 15 दिन पहले, और अभी हम स्टेट से उस पे कमेंट कोई लेने के लिए इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं. जैसा सीओ साहब ने बताया, 15 जून से पहले हम वो रिपोर्ट रिलीज कर देंगे.
Maushumi from the print. I have 2 questions. First is, in the last governing council meeting, some of the states, including Andhra, had brought up the issue of the growing aging population. So was that discussed in this meeting also? Did the PM say anything about it, measures being initiated to address that? One. And second, the deregulation committee that was set up by the CAPSEC after last year's governing council meeting. So what is happening there? Who is heading it? And what are the issues exactly that this committee is looking into?
Okay. So first question, the answer is 0. There was no discussion on that topic at all, on demographic management. It was there last time. Nobody discussed it, not even Andhra CM, number 1. Number 2, on the issue of Cabinet Secretary's task force on deregulation, there was only a reference to it by the Prime Minister. It did not come out of the Governing Council meeting. It actually came out after the Chief Secretary's conference, which was in December. So this is actually identifying specific laws or rules or procedures in a large number of areas which are a hindrance to normal operations. Typically, if you want to build a building or a factory, you will need some parking space. The rules require you to have an offset parking space, some FSI. These can lead to all kinds of absurd situations where you actually can't build anything. The entire land gets escrowed. So those are the kind of issues they are addressing. That work is happening separately. When it is appropriate, the cabinet secretary will brief that. He is leading it. NITI is only supporting that. We are not the leading that particular exercise.
51.
Hi, sir. I'm Dhruvaksh from Business Standard. One question, I actually have two questions. The first is that there have been reports that some chief ministers had talked about the state's share of central taxes at the governing council. So reports mentioned the Tamil Nadu chief minister. I just wanted to ask if, while it's the subject of the Finance Commission, the governing council is also an appropriate measure for platform for states to raise this issue if they have it. So did any other states raise this particular issue? Second question I have is on the asset monetization aspect of infrastructure development. The government is coming up with a second asset monetization pipeline, and states have also been encouraged in the past to go for asset monetization. So I just wanted to understand if there has been any discussion on that.
Okay. So to the best of my knowledge, it was Tamil Nadu alone which raised that issue. But it was a very courteous, polite way saying that we would like the share to be higher. The way the whole thing that is handled is, at the end, NITI Aayog notes down all the comments, suggestions, requests that come out. It is not always that NITI is the forum where these things can be resolved. Such matters pertain to the Finance Commission, we'll pass it on. Some of them are asking for a road or a bridge or a highway or a railway line. We pass it on to the concerned department. We'll keep a record of these things. So issues of Finance Commission are not to be decided here. I don't recall anybody else raising this particular issue. And he also has raised it in passing, saying that, look, we need more funds, and I think we need greater devolution to states. The other issue which you're talking, I don't think today is the forum. Today was not a day we discussed asset monetization. But since you asked a specific question, yes, second round of asset monetization, the pipeline is being prepared, and it would get done, and there'll be an announcement in August about the entire second pipeline. There's already been a budget announcement of that, 10 lakh crores. The first round, this was 4 lakh crores. This is 6 lakh crores. This will be 10 lakh crores.
11.
What is it?
Please introduce yourself.
Ajit from Radiance Media. पूर्वोदय में क्या हम मल्टी स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच ले रहे हैं? Are we taking only government people in the पूर्वोदय team that you said, like government people from states and other? Second question is, did we discuss imbalance in the CD ratio? Credit deposit ratio.
If you look at the budget announcement, there were 5 areas which were identified for preparing some suggestions for faster development of Purvodaya. One was education, second was tourism, third was health, and like that there were total education, and there was one more area which I am not able to recall. So as I mentioned to you that we constituted a committee where secretaries of all the 5 departments, they were the members, and also from states there was representations. Then this committee decided the details TOR, what kind of material we should discuss. Even Ministry of Finance also, representative secretary DEA participated in initial meetings. So after they decided about what kind of themes this committee should write on, we took help of NITI vertical. You know, in NITI we have strong vertical education and all those. So we took their help. Then also we took help of the states and some other experts. I also looked at it. Agriculture was another 5th subject there. So then we prepared that draft, which was again discussed like that. Yes, this issue often comes that in some of the states, the banks take deposits, but they don't plow it back. So this issue often figures. So like this, we discussed in that report all issues which matter for development of those sectors.
There was no discussion on the CD ratio at all. At all.
Last 24. This is the last question.
I'm Anil Handa from Atulya Bharat News. I've got two questions and one submission. Was IMF discussed? Because after Operation Sindoor, IMF has sanctioned certain amount to our neighbors. So was that discussed? And secondly, if you look at the 9th and 10th governing council meeting, if you'd like to rate them at a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them? And my submission is the 5 states which have abstained are non-BJP ruling states. You have anything to say on that?
Okay, so the last one, there is a factual, it's incorrect. Puducherry BJP is an ally, Bihar BJP is an ally, they are in the government, so it is not that only non-BJP states. I've told you, there are a lot of health reasons, I don't want to go into details of why they are not. Very politely it was communicated to me, that's why you're not seeing any statements or whatever, number one. Two, the first thing was about IMF, right? IMF was not discussed, this is not the forum at all. And you wanted to rate the 9th, 10th and other days. I've seen 3, my seniors have seen probably more than that. This I would rate among the best. But at the end of the 8th meeting also, I'm not carrying it right now, PM said, बहुत ही सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में ये बैठक हुई है. So there is one. So the 8th one was actually very, very, very polite, courteous, etc. And today he said, as I said, I repeated, he was equally emphatic that बहुत ही सार्थक चर्चा हुई है. And the atmosphere in the room had to be seen to be believed. It was so positive. And it doesn't matter, you had Umar Abdullah speaking at one end and you had Tamil Nadu speaking at the other end. You could see such a unanimity about development, and I think that's what the purpose is. I think we'll stop here.
Last question.
Okay.
189.
Sir, this is Madhuparna Das from CNN News 18. So in the recent current geopolitical, how the situation is emerging, so there are flurry of agreements between India and Turkey, India and Bangladesh, and government is taking also a lot of decisions in terms of import exports. So sir, we just need to understand is are the states also expressing their concern how to go about it? Is there any policy decision about it, about the trade agreements and all, because a lot of agreements are in public and private areas.
So I have not understood it, but I don't think states have any role in trade agreements, etc. But when you have any, trade opportunity, be it through an FTA or whatever, to capitalize on that, if you want to capitalize on, say, some shrimp exports, you will have to talk to Andhra where shrimp is, You want to capitalize on textiles, you will talk to Gujarat, Coimbatore and Punjab, So I think that extent the departments do that, but I don't think there's any direct role. But the PM emphasized, focus on exports, that gives you jobs. And states are focusing on manufacturing for exports.
Sir, I'm talking about the agreements between Turkey and India, or let's say Bangladesh and India.
There was no discussion on those, none at all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
नीति आयोग गवर्निंग काउंसिल में केवल मुख्यमंत्री मेंबर होते हैं. तो मुख्यमंत्री नहीं होता है तो कोई सब्स्टिट्यूशन नहीं होता है. अगर सब्स्टिट्यूशन नहीं होता है तो फिर उनके पीछे कोई अधिकारी भी तो नहीं होता है. मेंबरशिप तो मुख्यमंत्री की है. इट इज नॉट ए रिप्लेसेबल थिंग. नहीं.
Well handled.
नमस्कार मित्रों, भारत मंडपम में आज अब से कुछ समय पहले संपन्न हुई नीति आयोग की 10वीं गवर्निंग काउंसिल मीटिंग पर इस प्रेस वार्ता में आपका स्वागत है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में हुई इस बैठक में राज्यों और केंद्र शासित प्रदेशों के मुख्यमंत्रियों और प्रशासकों ने नमस्कार मित्रों, भारत मंडपम में आज अब से कुछ समय पहले संपन्न हुई नीति आयोग की 10वीं गवर्निंग काउंसिल मीटिंग पर इस प्रेस वार्ता में आपका स्वागत है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में हुई इस बैठक में राज्यों और केंद्र शासित प्रदेशों के मुख्यमंत्रियों और प्रशासकों ने हिस्सा लिया। इस प्रेस वार्ता के लिए मैं नीति आयोग के वाइस चेयरमैन श्री सुमन बेरी जी का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। साथ ही नीति आयोग के सदस्य श्री राजीव गाबा जी, डॉक्टर वी.के. सारस्वत जी, प्रोफेसर रमेश चंद जी और डॉक्टर वी.के. पॉल जी, डॉक्टर अरविंद विरमानी जी के साथ साथ नीति आयोग के सीईओ श्री B.V.R. सुब्रमण्यम जी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। इस प्रेस वार्ता की शुरुआत वाइस चेयरमैन श्री सुमन बेरी जी के संबोधन से होगी। उसके बाद नीति आयोग के सीईओ श्री B.V.R. सुब्रमण्यम जी विस्तार से जानकारी देंगे और मीडिया के सवाल सबसे अंत में लिए जाएंगे। अब मैं माननीय वाइस चेयरमैन जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि वे मीडिया को संबोधित करें।
Thank you very much, I'm sorry you've had to wait. Thank you all for being here and being interested in the work of NITI Aayog. This is the most important meeting that NITI Aayog holds, roughly once a year. This was the 10th Governing Council meeting, and this is the 10th year of NITI Aayog because it came into existence in 2015. There has already been something in social media about what the Prime Minister said. I won't go over that at the moment. What I would say is, first, he did acknowledge the importance of these successive meetings in creating a consensus in the past for many of the achievements of his government's first and second term. I won't go through all of this, but everywhere from housing to health to sanitation, all of these are the joint efforts of the center and the state made possible by a forum like the Governing Council. The second point that I think was very important was that even though there was a record of 10 years of achievement, the clear message is that it is time to accelerate, it is possible to accelerate, and this has to be a national movement. This is not, it has to be done. It's a political movement. It needs to mobilize the entire population. This was a demonstration of solidarity of center and states. Typically, it is about the economic program, but this took place in the shadows of the Pahalgam assault, Operation Sindoor, and that was also a sub-theme of